Did Jesus pray for unity or for truth? Well, the answer actually is yes. He prayed for both of them. And in fact, he prayed for both of them in the very same prayer, John 17. This is part 3 in a series where we take Jesus seriously. That since he could have prayed for anything he wanted to, we want to look closely at what he actually prayed for. And John 17 is his longest recorded prayer in Scripture. Plus, it's at the most important juncture of history, right before he gives his life. We've looked in the first couple of parts at unity to see that it's not uniformity, but in fact, it's very diverse parts all functioning together. We've seen that it's not a private unity that just stays within the little walls of the church. In fact, in our city of Tucson, Arizona, less than 10% of the population is part of a Christian church on any given Sunday. We could take all of the Christians in our city of almost 1 million, and based on those that are in a church on any given Sunday, they could all worship together in the football stadium. That would not be a good idea for all kinds of reasons. But one of those is that once the novelty wore off and people stopped talking about it, 93% of the population wouldn't even pay any attention. The unity can't be private. It's got to get outside the walls of the church. That happens by breaking down boundaries, and it happens by unconditional service. Today we want to look at the question that shows up in verse 17 of the prayer, where Jesus says, "Sanctify them by the truth. Your word is truth." For Jesus, unity and truth have to go together. They're on the same team. You ever heard somebody say it doesn't matter what you believe as long as you're sincere? You think that's true? I don't think that's true. It's a little bit shocking to me that in this day and age where almost every time you turn on the news, there's some other tragic shooting or unbelievable degree of carnage based on one person's beliefs. In a post-9/11 world, I can't imagine that anybody in our country would still espouse that it doesn't matter what you believe as long as you're sincere. Because if 9/11 is anything, it's a product of sincere belief. No, unity and truth need to go together. They're in the same prayer, and it's a substantive unity that Jesus is praying about. Sadly, all you have to do is look around the landscape and see what happens when you pull them apart. Some people who believe very strongly in unity, believe that it needs to be for all, and I totally agree, have concluded that the best way to get there is to soft pedal anything that might be offensive. You just need to kind of hide the truth in the back corner because truth divides, so we can't pay any attention to that. But when you do that, all you end up getting is a surface level commitment to be nice. In fact, tolerant is the word that's often used. I don't know who gets excited about being tolerated. So it's this surface level commitment, and the first strong breeze will just knock it over. Now, it needs to be a substantive unity, not one that hides anything that's going to be hard or challenging in the corner. Some folks have seen that ditch and decided, well, the best way to answer that is we just need to be really, really strong on the truth. And so they're strong on the truth and they keep parsing it down further and further until it's the proverbial us four and no more. And that lasts until the foursome breaks up. And I think that has less to do with the pursuit of truth than it does with arrogance and blind spots. Truth that has unity as the sacrificial lamb. You have to sacrifice unity in order to get to truth. That's no better than going the other direction. I'm convinced if you pull them apart, you lose them both. For Jesus, his prayer for unity and his prayer for truth are in the same prayer, and they need to be that for us also. It raises a lot of questions. It's not an easy thing. If it was easy, Jesus wouldn't have prayed for it. And so often I'll get asked the question, all right, well then what are you talking about? Who all is in the same body? And the simplest answer for me is if you have the same head, you're in the same body. There are different bodies with different heads, but if you have the same head, you're in the same body. And that needs to include all the different parts that are under that same head. Our next time we'll look at the way that this unity that Jesus prays for is a present unity for every generation and every age. Thanks again for watching.